What's up, people? Welcome to a video where I explain how buff works in this game, and hopefully will help you guys go through extreme and stuff. And this topic, presumably, one of the hardest to explain. Like, explain buff in this game is really difficult. I'll do my best. Hopefully, it will help. So, first thing first, the buffs are from some of the buffs are from the secret art. So there's a couple things I kind of want to tell you guys. Don't do it online. Well, first of all, let's go with Steel 3. Do not, especially when you play multiplayer, don't do it. It's not good. So this is one buff, Dark one. It's good for sometimes, but like in the battle, it takes some spaces, and the Wind one, not sure what it does in the battle, but yeah. After checking that stuff, I'm gonna check the buff list for you guys. So just by using these Sigurd buffs, it's already taking like 3 spots. So when you play online, that is a lot. The maximum buffs that you can get is 20, I believe. So when you're playing solo, like these buffs, I think back in the day we always used the force barrier before the boss fight, like defense plus 100%. Sure, I mean the only thing good is that if you want to convert, but other than that, it's not really important. 100% defense is not gonna save you in extreme, especially well after the update you can tank, but majority of the time you'll get one-shotted, so there really isn't no point. These buffs are literally they're not really helping, so try to avoid them in multiplayer, because like there's a lot of times where I just go online play and people just charge Steel 3 and run towards you and share it, and that's bad because I don't need it. Also, the good buffs that you really want to use are Accelerators, so this is pretty good. Stack 2 of those. You don't need no speed buffs. This is a speed buff, so you get 100% when you stack 2 of those. And then the other good Sacred Art is Dark 2. Whenever boss is attacking, hit it with this, or use, or whenever he use AOE. This is a really good way to cancel out, unless you want to try finish art, but not all the time we're gonna have finish art. So, alright, moving on to skill trees. This is the one of the fundamental that I want to talk about is that, for example, let's go with Soul Dances, and I only have the important ones I marked because there really is no need to have all 3 unlocked, like for all skills. That's way too many buffs. If you're gonna have like these, like Steel Wheel and the Howling Soldier to cap down all of them, plus that, your buff list is gonna be full in no time. So you're gonna over buff yourself. You're not buffing yourself. You'll be over buffing at that point. So I try to keep it like minimum amount, and it works. And I can use multiple buffs at the same time. Like accuracy wise, it's 15 and 5 is plenty. There's no need for more. With a belt, you get 40. That's more than enough for a majority of the raids. So, other than that, I try to keep the skill tree optimized the minimum as possible. So, as you can see, I don't have a lot of skill tree that has like capped out or anything. They're just a little bit, because that's all you need. You can instant kill the bosses just with that, like, without unlocking the whole tree, so, and without over buffing yourself. So I'm gonna talk about some full buffs. They're actually pretty good. My favorite is always the strength plus 10, and I always go for strength. There's no need for going for attack. 10% strength is more powerful than 10% attack majority of the time. It depends how much attack you have sometimes as well. So other foods are optional, because it depends what you want. Because the ones that I use the most is the cheeseburger, I usually call it, and The skill connect is good if you want to go for 3. If you use Billion Blossom, most of the time 2 is more than enough. Don't really need 3. Other than that, there's quite a bit of full buffs that you can get. The main ones that I really like to use is just the strength one. So yeah, go experiment and try out different food buffs if you are interested in it. Because if you just want to go for pure DPS, I would just use the strength food. Alright, so let's talk about the buffs itself, which is gonna be one of the hardest to explain. And I'll do my best. Billion Blossom, I use it for DPS, skill connect, spam it. If you're good at timing, if you want to take it a little bit slower, it's fine. If the blue light flash, that's when you connect your another skill. So yeah, it's optional if you want it or not. But I usually just use it for spamming. And then Reaper's Wrath for more crits, Burning Blade for down, Sword of Goddess for speed. So yeah, I want to keep it speed, crit, damage. So this is like the hardest part to balance, is to keep the speed you like the speed that you want, and then the damage you want. And yeah, I pretty much optimize as much as I can. So there's no wrong answer to it. You can swap out either one if you feel like it. And I'm gonna go through the Dino as well. So Liz, like for me and Lino, this is for multiplayer. That's what I would run online, like north, south, and west. Just probably have to change some records and stuff, so easy. And Lino's setup, it's pretty much all DPS. Tiger Result, DPS. Bulwark, DPS. Reapers for crit, so more crit, more DPS. And Galvanize, going Super R. Easy. So you can keep spamming to get more DPS. How stack works is in this game is like you have 20 buff limit, so you can stack anything you want. Just make sure you don't overbuff yourself with more buffs. Other than that, it's not really like how you use buffs in this game. You can use up to certain amount of buffs, like I say, 20 is the limit. So, for example, I use 2 Sword of Goddess stack up for speed. That's more than enough. I don't need a 3. That's overkill. That would just take way too many spots for my buffs. And I always run 2 Reaper's Wrath because sometimes 1 is not enough. Online, if your friend or anybody that has that Reaper's Wrath Plus, they can share it to you. So online, you might not even need Reaper's Wrath because people keep sharing it. Because I usually just share it. So. And these items are like the plus are Burning Blade Plus is from the Legendary Blacksmith. Galvanized Plus is from the Legendary Blacksmith. So the Reaper's Wrath, there's from multiple. I think I saw there's different items that has Reaper's Wrath Plus, and this one is from the Wideness Armor. The one of the relic drops it. It's really good. There's no negative effects on it, so. Yeah, multiplayer, this is what I will run. For single player, it's a little bit complicated. Because, well, not complicated. You just have to have the same setup somewhat. So you have to farm for extra copies. And, yeah. So, Silica, my Silica is the same thing. It's just I want an extra speed. So, like I said, balance speed and damage. And, I'm going to show you guys how to rotate the buffs and cycle through. I keep Riona as a debuffer. But you can swap Riona out for a buffer if you want, like the to get the same thing as the previous 2. I don't see a whole point. Like if you can get a debuffer with them working, get it working because it will speed the process so fast. You can pretty much one-shot the boss when it's down with the Wits End setup. The buffs that I recommend, the debuffs in this case that I recommend are the Black Chain of Discord, Child of Chaos. This one I just use for speed because that 2 is enough for north and south, west. So for east, I have to swap that out for Hands of Abyss to get even more special accuracies. So yeah, to make Wits End works, if you can, It's really good. And last but not least, the Wits End itself setup is kind of, it looks complicated, but it's not. There's a bunch of special accuracy like the Incarnation, any close would work as high as possible. The ear ring, not necessary. Use Heartbeat if you can't get one yet from the West. The West is kind of annoying to farm sometimes, so there's people that don't have the EX gears. I would just use that from the Blacksmith, so highest goes 20. And Forgotten Ring highest is 26, so if you can get a good one, somewhat around 23 to 26, it's good enough for Wits End to hit north and south. So east, maybe, I'm not sure. West and east is required a little bit higher, so yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna explain how to stack up the buffs in a way that hopefully it makes sense. So you can stack up to quite a few buffs, but you don't want to overbuff yourself. That's the key. And what I do is, where you see in my video, I would just go all buffs right off the back, me and my partner. That usually that's more than enough, because I don't really need to use a third buff for my Silica. That's too much. I feel like, it's good to just rotate for me itself. The only reason, the only point that I'm using all buffs at once is when I'm doing death game or whatever, and that I need more accuracy, so I have to use 2 sword dances from myself, 2 bulwark from my partner, so I have to use all these buffs in a way that it's kind of complicated. So yeah, learning how to use the buffs at the right time and when and how to use it is like the most important part. The easiest way to get the buffs works is get used to swapping your partners, because the key to use the buff is swapping and knowing which partner is doing what and what they have on them. Is the cooldown, is it done, or do I need a debuffs whenever that happens? The other thing I forgot to explain is the customized cooldowns. The cooldowns are really important because the buffs will come back super fast, and that's how make the rotation works. If you have the cooldowns, incarnations, and 2 accessories, and they will be done really fast in like 1 super art. Go in second, the first one will be finished really fast. So for south, I would stack 2 Reaper's Wrath for myself, and stack actually just my buffs and my AI's buffs. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go in with the buffs with my Lino. So I can stack up Reaper's Wrath and all these buffs at once. The other thing is, when you use Billion Blossom or not, keep the EX Connect. And around 2, if you can, you do 3 sword skill, get 2 dash, 2 skills, and then that should stay. Whoops, hit the rock. That's why you see I use Final Revolution, Shine, Starburst. Keep that DPS 2 out of 2, and then dash. Keep that 2, Starburst. Keep that 2. So just keep the chain going and keep the DPS going. When my buffs runs out, swap to Lino. I mean, not Lino, Silica, and then use all her buffs at once. And then go back to yourself, and then do more damage. Keep the same chain going. Use Riona whenever if you set her as a debuffer. Use her when the boss is down. Then, like for example, the boss is down, like the first down. I would just apply the debuffs so they can't get back up, and then use Wits End, use a Shadow Stitch. They pretty much won't get up for a long time, and then you just once the debuff's done, just keep doing damage, and then get used to swap to your partner. I swap back to my Lino if I run all the buffs. Usually when I swap to Pana is when my Galvanize runs out, then I can buff again. So keep the rotation going, and more damage. Keep doing the damage. I'm gonna swap to Silica when my Galvanize runs out, that's when if you have the setup for cooldown incarnation, that's usually how long it will take. Use one of your full buffs, swap back to your partner, it's done cooling down, then you can buff again. So it's very easy rotation. You could use Lino and Silica at the same time with full buffs, but you would have just a Galvanize to rotate at that point. You're gonna have to wait for both of them cool down. That's why I just use one rotation at a time. Unless you're going for a speed kill or insta kill, like when the boss is down, I wouldn't use full buffs from all AI at once. They're really unnecessary. So trying to understand the basic first is to practice swapping AI, knowing when their buff is ready, knowing who's doing what sometimes, and that's the main key of keeping the damage chain going, as well as keeping the buffs alive. And because your duration is usually between like 90 seconds to 120, so at that point, by the time the 90-second like runs out, you swap to your other character. The cooldown is already done. See, so you can just keep us like rotate them through until you get used to it. Yeah, the big takeaway is practice a lot more and get used to swapping AIs and knowing when the buffs are cooling down, and do it again and stack them up as much as you can if you want to. But I usually do 2 AIs at once, so that way I know when my other buffs are done. Because if you do 3 AIs at once, you're gonna keep it tracking like when the other buffs are done. So yeah, just keep practicing and you guys will be good to go. I hope this helps. If you guys have more questions, go ahead and ask, because explaining buffs like this is kind of vague sometimes, but there really is no best way to explain them, or like the straight answer. It's not math, so can't have a straight answer for it. Yep, I hope you guys enjoy it. Until next time.